Oké, goed. Yeah, can you? Yeah, we are live and welcome by this first lecture of the academic year of 2020-2021. My name is Bastian and today we have a lecture of G2K with Yuri Nauta. First I want to make a couple of announcements. Yeah, this is the first time that we are giving a live stream of a lecture, so please have a bit of understanding when some things go wrong. Second, this lecture is mostly for CIC students, and so we have somewhere in this lecture a QR code which you can fill in your name and your student number, so we know that you were here today with us. Also, I want to welcome the CMD students. Also for you guys, this is an interesting lecture, I think. And the reason why Yuri is online with us at the Skype is he is at home with corona-like symptoms. He can tell me something about that. So, welcome, Yuri.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
So you are at home.
Yes, I'm at home. Yeah, just to be sure, I got a bit of a cough and a bit of a sore throat. So
I think
just to be sure, I don't infect all of you over there.
You are at home since Monday, I think, with the new measurements.
We at G2K we already worked quite a bit at home. We had a flexible schedule, so I worked at the office like 3 days in a week, and the rest I spent at home. But since the new announcements and the new measurements from the government, we started to go working from home full time again since yesterday.
So it's a repeating process since March, beginning this year. Yeah,
we are quite we quite know how to work from home right now. So yeah, we're well trained. Yeah.
Can you tell me a bit more about yourself?
Yes. Well, my name is Yuri Nauta. I am the digital director of G2K. Which means I am responsible for all digital and web-related projects that we do. G2K is a creative agency, we like to call it, a graphic design agency. We work with close to 15 people. We have two offices. Like our headquarters are based in Groningen. And we have we call it an outpost in Amsterdam, so a little office space over there as well. And G2K itself has been around for more than 20 years. Well, I wasn't involved at the beginning because I'm not that old, but it's been around for quite a while.
Because how old are you now?
I'm 30.
30. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were 10 when G2K started.
Yeah. Less than 10. I think it started at 1998. So I was 8.
In Groningen there are 15 plus employees. How many are there in Amsterdam?
Right now, currently we have 2 freelancers working in Amsterdam, which occasionally do work for G2K, but mostly do work for themselves. It used to be a full studio with up to 20 people. But that declined quite a bit a couple of years ago. So, but we are now actively working on rebuilding the studio in Amsterdam as well. Yeah. So we are now at 0 to 10%, and we would like to get that up again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You told me you weren't there at the start of G2K. How were you involved in the company?
Well, I have a couple of slides in the presentation as well. First this one, which I think gives a bit of a gist like what we do at G2K. We're a graphic design agency, so we are mostly focused on brand identities. We also do a lot of campaigns. editorial stuff. Myself, I'm more focused on the web part, so websites, application design, stuff like that. Yeah, and I have a couple of slides in the presentation as well about my involvement in G2K and how that started.
So
which started with PIT. Yes.
Yeah, the origin. PIT. Yes.
Yes. PIT is a company that I and a couple of fellow students from Minerva started, I think, 5-6 years ago during our study at Minerva. It was more like an exhibition space and an agency in one. So we had office spaces. This is an office space in Groningen that you see. I don't know if it's good visible for the people at home, but it's a bit of an inception, screen in screen. But way back there, that's the office space that we had in the Groningenstraat. And this was through Job, which is an organization which isn't around anymore. But back then, their goal was to have vacant properties in the inner city and give them to creative organizations. So stores like Stardust also started with Job, which made it possible for starting entrepreneurs to have a really nice space for something like 1/10 of the actual rent. So it was really affordable. And we had this space in the Groningen, which was our office space, and we collaborated on different projects together. And it was also an sort of an art gallery, so we had exhibitions over there, which really was quite. So this is a preview of an exhibition. It was quite good for our name, and people started recognizing PIT more because they visited and they got to know us, and we had, of course, a really prominent place in the inner city, which was also really good.
Yeah.
So that's
And this the projects I see here, are those your projects that you made, or are those from others? Other creators.
Mostly from others. We curated different exhibitions. So we had people from Minerva. We also had one time we had a quite famous skateboarding photographer, Marcel Veldman. He did a whole exhibition. So we often curated exhibitions and picked creators that would nicely go with the theme that we chose.
Exactly. And then after you joined G2K.
We were getting progressively more professional. So this is our last office space. You can see here it's less of an exhibition space, more just a workspace. So we started doing creative projects more, and the focus shifted from doing events to just being an agency and creating projects together.
Yeah. And the dog is yours also, or?
No, it's from a friend of mine, but he is a really good model. Yeah. And this was our last office space, and from here we were actually invited by a couple of people from G2K, which we already work with closely, to explore how we could merge the two companies. Yeah. And like I just said, G2K has been around for over 20 years. Really a renowned graphic design agency, also an agency that we really looked up to, and we had an ambition to be like them someday. So this was really a nice opportunity for us to merge with them, and it's sort of like a fast forward for us. Yeah. And a little bit of a shortcut.
Because what was your ambition exactly?
Well, we were always focused about the work that we wanted to make, and we wanted to do I think bigger projects and projects that had more impact, were more visible. Yeah. had more budget also because that means that you can do a lot more creative stuff that is really nice to do. So yeah, it's really about I think the maturity in the projects that we did.
Yeah. So becoming bigger with more employees, bigger projects.
Yeah. And well, G2K already, of course, had a lot of employees, which we kind of profited from, and because they have really a lot of different expertise as well. So it helps advance the work that we create. Yeah, so that's always has been our main goal, is to make really good stuff. Yeah. To keep it simple, but the merge with G2K made that more possible, more quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, stuff we are about to see. Let's take a look at the slide. There was also the merge, I think.
Yeah, this was the merge party, which we popped the champagne bottle, and everybody thinks the cork is in the air, but it's actually in my hand.
Okay. Yeah. And this was also at the location you have right now.
Yeah. We are currently housed in at the Ubbe Emmy-singel, which is close to the Groningen Museum. So when you exit the bridge at the Groningen Museum, it's to the right, a couple of 100 meters, and on the single, a really nice space.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. Yeah, we had 3 years ago. We had an in-house with you guys. Yeah, very nice interior indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really nice workspace, and I think it's also very important that people who work with us, when they come to work, it's a fun environment to be in, and a really nice environment to be in and to work in. So I think it really has a lot of added value in contrast to maybe having an office space in Driebond with a systeemplafond. I don't know how to call it in English, but a little bit of more of a corporate interior.
Yeah, it's not a normal ceiling, but it's more like the old days with.
It's really fancy. Yeah. Maybe a bit too fancy, but I really like it because it really contrasts with the stuff that we put in it, which is quite modern. Yeah. So it's a really nice workspace, and we have a big garden, so we can kick a ball around when it's nice weather, stuff like that. So it's really it creates a really relaxed atmosphere for working, which I think is really important.
And how is the structure when you look at your colleagues? Is it more like we are all the same, or is it?
It's a really flat hierarchy. Yeah. So I think that's also really important, especially for creative stuff. That anyone in the company, they can have an opinion, and they can they can say their opinion out loud. Yeah. So an opinion of an intern is equally as important as an opinion of a senior designer. Of course, at the end, you need to have someone who can decide. Yeah. But we take all the opinions in our office very seriously. Yeah.
Okay. I think we can go to the next slide then. Your work.
Yeah.
I think also very important. Can you go a bit further?
Yeah, I have a couple of slides included just to give a little bit of insight, like the kind of projects that we do. And I incorporated a couple of projects that people probably know. First, which I didn't work on myself because it is quite an old project. It's from 2007, I believe, is the brand identity for the University of Groningen, the RUG, which was created at G2K. So we created the brand identity and the incorporation in stuff like flags, but also the diplomas, how they look. So we did a lot of brand design and communication design for RUG.
And a question that pops up in my head is, university, why the color red? Do you know something about that, or?
I have no clue
Okay.
at all. No, well, I think the color red was already present, I believe. So it's because the university, of course, it already had a branding before this was created. So it's more of a rebranding. Where it's I think really important to look about what is the heritage of the brand and where does it come from, because the identifiers that are already used make the brand recognizable. So I believe the red was already incorporated in previous versions of the identity, as well as I think the iconic emblem, which we tidied up a little bit to make it look more clean, more modern, but is based on the really old emblem that was used at the founding of the university.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying with a rebrand, it's important to look at what is already there, because it would look strange if suddenly the colors change and the icons change.
It can be a choice, of course.
Yeah.
Like certain companies, they say like, yeah, we want to get rid of the old image altogether. We want to have a new name, new identity, and then you go about it all different and choose like contrasting colors to the colors they had previously, stuff like that. And I think that there's another step like which we did with the rug, which is a bit more subtle, so that the people still recognize the brand that it once was, because the rug is more of an institution as well, instead of like a startup company. So for them, it's much more important to stay recognizable. So there, it makes more sense to not overthrow the whole brand, but to give it more of a fresh up.
Yeah, exactly. I got a note from my director that I want to ask you guys, if you have questions, put them in the chat and I will ask them. Just a side note. I think we can go to the next slide. Is that okay? Yeah?
Yeah.
The Wadden?
Yes. Well, this is quite a recent project. We have been working for the Wadden area for, I think, 2 years now, 2-3 years. And I think what's really nice to mention about this is that, of course, we all know the Wadden area with Schiermonnikoog, Terschelling, Texel, and also the coastlines. But it was always positioned as separate destinations. So Schiermonnikoog had a different website than Terschelling, etc. And there was no umbrella for the whole Wadden region. So what we created was that umbrella brand-wise. We created a brand which sort of is like the mother brand to the different locations. And is more aimed on getting tourists to the Waddengebied than to a specific area in the Waddengebied. And we have been working for Wadden for I think 3 years now. So we created a brand identity, but we also do a lot of campaigns for them, which is we do that on an annual basis. We create campaigns on the themes that they choose. So last year it was about the flavor of the Wadden, and we created a whole campaign about what you can eat at the Wadden, what is typically about that region, which is of course a lot of seafood, stuff like that. And we created a whole campaign about that. So
all of the islands we have in the north of Netherlands are now housed under Wadden.
Under this brand, and also the coastline. Yeah.
Interesting. Next slide.
Yes.
Q-Link.
Yeah.
I think everybody recognizes this.
Yeah, and I incorporated also a picture of the Q-Link bus at, I think, the location that you are right now.
yeah, it's in front of our building indeed. Yeah,
I think Q-Link is quite interesting because first and foremost, it's a really visible brand. I think everybody who lives or visits Groningen knows the brand Q-Link, because of course the buses drive all over the city. Yeah. What we did for Q-Link is first we created a brand design, so more of the visual design, how it looks, but also we thought about the transportation system, which is now more positioned as a sort of metro network above ground.
Yeah, exactly.
With the colors and the travel system that goes with that. So I think next to just the visual part, we also created a layer of usability, which I think really increases the ease that the transportation network has to offer.
So it's a bit like the metro system in London, for example, with the colors and the lines that overlapping each other.
Exactly.
You tried to do the same, or you did the same with Q-Link.
Well, I think what's really interesting about those cases is they have like a really comprehensive network of transportation, and of course the goal is to make it as simple as possible, because when people when they travel like every day with the system, they eventually know what train or metro or bus to take. Yeah. But for perhaps tourists, it's one big diffuse system. So it's really about creating a level of simplicity and something that's easy understandable to the quite a complex transportation system.
And when I look at the bus, I can see the branding is actually on the bus. Is that important when you develop a logo or a branding, that it's usable for, in this case, the bus?
It's really important. We always look at the ways that the identity is going to be applied to certain things. Yeah. So we check, for instance, when we create a logo, you want to check, is it recognizable really big, but is it also, does it still stand when it's used really small? Is it still recognizable? Are the details still properly visible, etc.? And of course for Q-Link, because it's quite a different way of applying the identity, because we don't design buses very often. It was really good to look at that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And we applied the colored stripe, as you can see on the left image. We applied it on the harmonica, so it's quite flexible as well. So it's really integrated with the bus.
Yeah. I think it looks very nice.
Good to hear.
Next slide. Rhythm.
Yes, this is a project that we did quite recently, which is just to give you an image of the type of projects that we do. I think the previous projects were maybe a bit more corporate, also a bit bigger than this one. Rhythm is a startup, just started last year. They create rims for bicycles. And we did the identity for them as well, which was for us a bit a smaller assignment, but gave a bit more creative freedom. Yeah, exactly. So that's I think important for us as well.
Because we saw a couple of projects now. What is the progress of the process of getting at the branding?
Well, it differs per assignment, but usually where we start, or where we would like to start, is on a strategic part, because when a client comes with us with a question for a new logo or a new website, like that question has its origin most of the time in another question, because they notice that their current website isn't up to date, maybe isn't visible enough, can be found well on Google, or is just outdated, how it looks visually. But it's really important to understand why the entrepreneurs want to have something.
Yeah.
And why do they want to have a new logo, have a new website? It helps us understand their goals. And from there, I think we can design better end products. So we usually start with interviews, talk to the client, sometimes also talk to the clients of the client to understand what their question and their perception of the brand is. Yeah. And from there, we create a really clear image where it should go. So where the branding should go, or where the website should go, etc. So we mostly start the process there, and from there we start designing visually, but sometimes also functionally. When it's about a website, we start thinking about the flow of the website, the content it should contain, how the users are going to get to that content. And from there we design the visual part. So how is it gonna look?
And that is by sketching and.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Different design rounds, talking to the client, discussing different stuff, and sketching, designing, and working towards an end product.
How many reviews do you have with clients?
It really differs per client. Sometimes we have like a go in the first session. So, but sometimes it's 5-6 rounds. So it really differs per client. Usually we take into account that there are 2-3 feedback rounds.
Yeah, exactly.
In an identity process. Yeah, which is usually enough.
Okay, then I have a question of Helene. Does G2K have international clients?
Not that much. We mostly, when we look at our client base, a lot of clients are based in the northern part of Netherlands. So we have a lot of regional clients. We have a couple of national clients which are more based around Amsterdam, Utrecht, so in the Randstad, and we occasionally work for an international client, but it doesn't occur very often.
Would you like to see more international? Or would you like to see international clients?
Yes. Well, I think to have more international clients isn't like an actual goal for us, okay. But it's more about having interesting clients. So you have really interesting companies who work from the northern of Netherlands, but you also have really interesting companies based in London or New York. Yeah. So it's more about getting interesting clients. We would love to work from Nike. So. Okay. Yeah, Nike, give us a call. Yeah. Yeah. So stuff like that. Yeah. We would like to see more international clients, but rather more clients that are interesting than just international, because you also have a lot of boring international clients as well. So yeah, okay. It's all about the things that they do, and how that fits the things that we would like to do. Yeah.
Clear. Then I have another question of Anna. How do you find big projects like this? Do you contact them or vice versa? Do you contact them or vice versa is the question, I think.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of projects that come to us because we are quite well known as an agency in the northern of Netherlands. So when there are companies having a new pitch, then we are often invited. A lot of projects are also like in case of the Wadden, because it is a project paid for from tax money. So it's government initiated. You have a tender. Which you have to participate in, And well, a tender is basically you bring out an offer and sometimes also a creative proposal, and from there they decide what party is a best fit for their question.
Yeah.
So like the Wadden thing was a tender.
A tender is it like a pitch, right?
Yeah, it is a pitch, but with more rules.
Okay.
So usually pitches are more creative and intended to give the client some insight on what the end result could be. And tenders are more based on planning, costs, etc. So usually less on the creative part.
Okay.
But it's sort of the same. Only tenders they have more rules because they are government initiated.
Okay. I think we're gonna see a project in a bit about the forum that was also a pitch. That was a pitch, right?
There was a pitch, indeed. Yeah. So 4 parties were included in that pitch. This was really a creative pitch. So we created like a proposal for the identity, and they chose us based on that proposal.
Exactly. When we take a look back at Rhythm, what did you guys design for them? Is it just the branding or also the website, and what did you guys?
For Rhythm, I think the things that we actually designed was quite limited, because they are really a startup and need to operate really cost efficient. So we designed the logo, a couple of assets like a gift card that you get when you place an order, the box that the wheels come in, the wheels themselves. And we also we did the UX design for the website, but it was built, I think, somewhere in the eastern of Europe.
Okay.
Because it was more cheaper.
Exactly.
Too bad.
I think the next slide is then about the forum.
I think well, I included 2 cases, like the previous images. I think they give a nice view of like the broad spectrum of the things that we do. But these cases are a bit more zoomed in. So as you just mentioned, well, we did a lot of work for Forum Groningen. We first of all created the identity and the logo design, and I think what's really interesting about this is that the forum as a building is really packed with different types of content and different types of use, because there's a library in there, there's an exhibition space in there, there is of course the cinema in there and a restaurant, so that there's a lot of different things going on.
A playroom for children also, I think.
Also, the list goes on. There's a strip museum, of comic museum. I think strip is a different translation, but there's a comic museum in there as well. So there's a lot going on for a lot of different people, and something that the identity really should take into account, that it should work with different content and for different target audiences. So what we created was this logo, the F, with the space next to it, which is it can contain different images. So on the bottom left you see Shaun the Sheep, which is of course more aimed towards children, but even Donald Trump can have a place in this identity. So it's really what we created for them is really more of a flexible identity system, which really takes into account their use, and it really should work with different content types.
And is the space next to the ladder, is that based on the shape of the building? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because of course the building is very iconic with the crooked shapes and walls. We really incorporated that in the identity as well, and it works in the logo, but the logo also translates to a more flexible identity system, I think, which is shown on the next slide. Yeah, so the logo is like the square next to it is also expandable. And can contain different slanted sides, which really displays the character and the architecture of the forum as well.
In this case, the video. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So here you can see that.
Yeah. So we created like a grid system. So this is more of not like a really rigid identity, but it's really flexible. And it can have a lot of different appearances, but still have the recognizability because of the slanted sides and the F. So I think this shows it really well, like what kind of things are all possible in the identity.
Was it hard to come up with this idea?
Well, I'd have to ask our director Rutmer, which created this. Well, sometimes like I think with the forum there was quite a lot of really valuable input. Like the building itself, it has such a character, and a lot of like visual aspects that you can really translate very well into an identity system like this. So I think like the use of the slanted corners and the slanted sides is maybe something that is a bit expectable, but also I think really suits the building as well.
So researching was, I think, not the hardest part in this project.
No, there was so much that we could use as ingredients which makes it really fun to design this as well. Yeah.
Now we are looking at the website, and I think that is your department.
Yeah. Well, the website for Forum Groningen we created with another agency which did the technical side. We also have technical developers in house, but they already had an agency who did the previous website, and this was more of a translation of the new identity onto the previous website.
And technical in this case is more like the back end? Or?
Yeah, back and front end in this case.
Okay.
Yeah. So everything that is coded, we didn't do.
Okay. So
yeah, but sometimes we do that as well. And I think the next example is the Stad installation, which also has technical stuff in it. Well, it's the next case. We'll get to that later. But there we did the development as well in-house.
Okay.
Yeah, I just incorporated a couple of slides which show I think the diversity for the things that we do for the forum, because they also have exhibitions which we do graphic design for.
In
so
this
this
case,
is the previous exhibition. Sorry.
In this case, this is more like an exhibition. Yeah.
So which is held in the forum. And we designed the wayfinding, the signing, and the campaign. And this is, I think, nice to tell. This is for the current exhibition about Aardman, an animation studio based in Bristol, which are very well known for their characters Wallace and Gromit and Shaun the Sheep. And they currently have an exhibition in Forum, and we created the whole campaign for this exhibition, which was really fun to do, because we worked with the Aardman Studios themselves, so they really gave us a lot of tips on how to use the characters, because for instance, like Timmy, which is shown on this slide as well, is like a really small fun character, and they really gave us a lot of good insights on how to use those characters.
Sorry, what?
Okay,
yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, we
So
went a
that was
bit
really fun to do also, and to work with the animation studio directly.
Yeah.
And they also made a custom clayed F, which is really fun, which can be seen here on the top left. They clayed that themselves. So yeah, it's a really nice way to.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I see it now. Indeed. Yeah. So in this case, the animation of the sheep you got from the other studio.
Yeah. They provided us with a lot of like raw materials and cutouts of the characters.
Yeah. But you have animators at G2K, right? Yeah.
We also do animation, but this is of course a very different type of animation, and it's, for instance, this is stop motion, the things that Arman creates, which is not really our territory, but it's also it's their work. So it's not. We don't need to touch that. It's really iconic stuff. So that's up to them. Yeah.
I have another question of the chat. Daniel asks, are you looking for interns, and what kind of interns are you looking for?
Well, we're currently full until I think April next year. But generally, we always have one intern, and mostly the intern is sort of graphic design based. So a lot of CMD students or students from, for instance, Minerva or another graphic design school in mostly in the Netherlands. Yeah, and I think the internship that we offer is it's mostly graphic design based. So you work on identities, campaigns, stuff like that, but also get to experience what it is like to go on a video shoot, photo shoot, and help out with the more practical side. So it's really a flexible, a flexible internship.
Do you have to know the programs at its fullest, or?
A bit. Yeah. You need to know your way around, like InDesign, Photoshop, and maybe After Effects. It is quite important, of course, to sort of know how these tools work. I think with us, we can give a lot of guidance and explain a lot of things that are good to know when we're working on with these programs. But you need to have like a bit of history with them. Yeah.
And in the conversation we had before the lecture, you told me that that G2K is always looking for freelancers. Can you tell me a bit more about that part?
Well, we work a lot with freelancers, and mostly there are photographers, illustrators, so mostly content based. And the reason therefore is that photographers and illustrators, it is really nice to work with different illustrators for different projects. Yeah. So it makes less sense to have them as like a member of the staff, and it makes more sense to hire different illustrators or different photographers, etc., for different projects. So on that department, mostly the content department, we are always looking for good freelancers.
Yeah, and that's because I think that's because with different illustrators, different illustrations are suited to a project.
Yeah, different styles.
Yeah. Okay. I think the next project is Stad.
I think this is really nice to show, because this is actually an interactive installation inside the forum. But the previous case was really broadly oriented and really flexible. And this is more of like a concrete thing that we created. It's an interactive installation. Maybe some people have already used it, which has a map of the city of Groningen, like a 3D maquette in Dutch, with video projections on top
look at the directors. Okay, we can continue. Um,
A bit too quickly.
yeah, yeah, I think something went wrong with the volume. They are looking into it. Maybe we can see it in a couple of minutes. But
I think it already gave quite a good impression, like what it is that we did there.
Very interactive.
Exactly. So we created the application which controls different beamers, and we created all the video content that is inside of the installation, which are, I think now 10 videos about different subjects in and around the city.
Yeah.
So there is one about the history of Groningen, which really tells a story about Bommenberend and how that whole story went, which is this.
Yeah, because I saw an image of Rabenhout. What's it person called? Bommenberend.
Yeah. Rabenhout.
Yeah. You animated his head, I think.
Yeah. So these are all illustrations that come from city archives, and we created this with a freelancer, Thomas Grootonk, which animated the illustrations on a really nice and almost sort of a 3D kind of way, which I think works really well in this installation. Yeah, so this is like I think a completely different project in relation to like identity work, but it's really nice to develop as well. And this is more content driven and more about interaction.
And it reflects the things you do in this case.
Yeah. It's really broad. Yeah. So we can work on an identity, but at the same time we can work on maybe an exhibition or a digital installation. So it's really a lot of different things, which also keep it really interesting.
Okay, very clear. The next slide is, because I have a
I think these were the slides. So,
then I have a couple of questions myself, because last academic year we did a couple of podcasts when we talked about fuck-ups. Do you have a fuck-up where you think, ooh, that could have approached in a different way?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I think I learn a lot still from doing the work that I do. So I think maybe you wouldn't call it a fuck up, but lessons to be learned, and over time you learn how to approach things differently or do the things more efficiently. But those are more I think small steps than like big fuck ups. So I'm thinking of a concrete example now, which you can classify as a fuck up. Well, it happens sometimes that you like maybe send a wrong file to the printers with the wrong resolution, so something like that. Yeah, which happened to me like when I just came out of Minerva and did the first real life assignments. You have stuff like that you think, okay, next time I really need to check it double, and the next time you check it double. So stuff like that.
But there are no major injuries about a client that was super mad or something?
No, nothing like that. No.
Okay.
Thank God.
Thank God, indeed. Then the next question of mine is, where are you the most proud of? Which project?
Well, I think that personally is Forum, because it really has I think a really positive impact on the city that we live in, and is really visible. And for me is I've been at G2K for 3 years now, and it's been by far the most diverse client that we had so far. and also a really engaged client. So at the forum, we really have a position that we take them seriously and they take us seriously. So when I'm talking to them and I see some things in the forum that I think could go better, which they didn't ask me, I can still mention it and they will take it seriously. So we really have a nice collaborative approach to that collaboration. And it works really nice. And I think, at the end, it really shows in the work that we do for them. Because we have quite a lot of creative freedom in them as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you have one tip for students, what would it be?
Depends on the type of student, I think. When I was at Minerva, I think what really helped me was to use the time when I was studying to also start by exploring like the business side of things. And we already started the company PIT, I think in the third year of Minerva, which was really useful because you are still at school. You're not 100% dependent on the income of the company because I still had Stufy. I don't know what the situation about Stufy is nowadays, but I still got some money from the government.
I think the same.
Yeah, but now it's a loan, right?
Yeah, we have to pay it back in full.
Yeah. Well, I think I also have quite of a major study debt, but it's been a really good investment for me, I think, because it gave me the space to explore the things that I would like to explore and check out what I am good at during my period at Minerva. And it really made sure that once I was graduated, I didn't have like the black hole that a lot of people fear after graduation, but it was really quite of a smooth transition because we already built up quite a bit during
and networking also, I think.
Yeah. And of course, I think my example is, of course, a bit more suited for the people that want to, next to being maybe a graphic designer, also want to be an entrepreneur. Maybe for someone who wants to work in an agency, it's more relevant to already speak with different agencies while you are still in college.
Yeah.
So once you get out and are available for work, you know who to approach and how to approach them. And it always works that, especially for graphic designers, to have a good portfolio. So you use the time in your study to really get your portfolio in order
and create everything that you create. Put it in your portfolio also.
Maybe not everything. The things that you are really happy about. I think for a portfolio, I think it's important to show the things that you can really stand behind. So it doesn't have to include every flyer or flyer you designed or photo that you took, but it has to give like a good, accurate picture of you as a creative, and just show your best work as well. Yeah.
Okay. I got a question from Anna about the forum. Will you continue working for them with every exhibition to come?
I really hope so. Yeah. That is the idea. I think they're also quite happy about the work that we do for them. So most definitely, yeah. It depends a bit on what the exposition is about and who is the owner of the exhibition, because the forum they get existing as exhibitions to Groningen, and sometimes the owner of the exhibition also wants to have like a key part in creating the communication visuals. Yeah. So that would leave less room for us, but when it's up to us, most definitely. And I think Also, when it's up to a forum, I also think most definitely. Yeah.
A good thing to hear. We talked about why you wanted to do this lecture, and that was because when you are getting contact with other clients, you are mostly in contact with the communication staff.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, I think like for the students that are watching right now, I think a part of them are looking to work in a creative field, so mostly towards graphic design, etc. Which are of course relevant for us for potential internship or maybe even a job after that. And at the other hand, it's more communication based. And when we work for our clients, which have a bit of body, or so not like the small startups, but the SMEs that have like 20 or more people employed, they usually have like someone for the communication, or maybe even a whole department.
Yeah.
And when we work for clients, we usually deal with those people. And they usually also decide what design agency to hire.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so for the people that are going into that direction, please consider us for your next job.
Clear. Yeah, I think if someone has a question, now is the time to ask them. Right now, I want to tell you about the QR code, which comes now in the screen, I think. The form will be available to fill in until 1 p.m. And right after 1 p.m. We close the form. So we know that you were actually here. Your name and your student number, please. Questions? I think I will wait a couple of seconds. No questions? Okay, then I want to thank you, Yuri, for this this awesome lecture. Do you want to say something to close up? With the Instagram and
Exactly. Yes, yeah. If you want to stay updated on the work that we do, please follow us on Insta. And it's at G2K _ creative agency. So there we post like all the work related things that we do. So if you want to keep up to date, Insta is the best channel for that. And if you want to know more about G2K, please check out our website.
Okay, then again, thank you very much. We hope to see
you. Thank you.
Welcome. We hope to see you at the next lecture. I think it will be live, but we hope it can be physical. For right now, have a nice day, and till then.